A lot of people want to walk around thinking you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You could your own operation. You don't have to answer to anybody. That's not true. Knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is. All of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be, and we own our own business, and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses.
Football Hall of Famer and broadcaster Shannon Sharpe says he's stepping aside from his job at ESPN in light of new allegations. On Sunday, a woman filed a $50 million civil lawsuit in the state of Nevada.
Stephen A. Smith is eating this moment up right now. Word on the street is that Shannon Sharpe just lost his ESPN gig, and insiders are whispering that he's not just on leave, he's possibly banned for life from the network. That's right. After 3 more women came forward with shocking new allegations, it's looking like Shannon's media career might be finished for good.
It's a sad situation. Shannon Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. To be clear, even though this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Take. So I sit here before you today letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach.
But what's really wild, the internet ain't showing him any mercy. Folks online are saying he brought this all on himself. And honestly, this whole situation is spiraling into one of the most jaw-dropping scandals we've seen in a hot minute. Shannon was out here trying to play sugar daddy to an OnlyFans model, a girl so young she could easily be his granddaughter. He really thought he had it under control.
And just one more thing about Mr. Sharpe. Not so sharp, clearly. It is my theory, just my opinion, my theory, not fact, my opinion. I think all of this RACE rhetoric that was in those text messages started with him. It started with him. It's becoming more and more clear to me, in my opinion, that he has a race fetish. He has a fetish for that type of dynamic. Think about it. This was a 19-year-old white woman when he met her. I don't know any 19-year-old white woman that's running around hollering about a big black baby and baby gravy. Shannon was a 54-year-old big black grown man from the backwoods of Georgia. Gravy sound like something he's familiar with. Big black babies, he probably seen a few in his day. Born in the backwoods of Georgia where he grew up with his grandma and all them other folks. But I just don't think that came from her. Now, is she repeating it back in those text messages? Yes. That's why he released her messages, not his. Peep that. Okay? We haven't seen what his responses was. And I guarantee you, when they post those messages, y'all gonna see. All of that race started with him. It's a fetish. And he could only play that kind of stuff out with a young girl. He couldn't, like Monique was trying to tell him, get an older gal. Older gal ain't going for that. They was going to immediately know he was a freak and a weirdo. A 19-year-old don't know no better. That's why she repeating it back to him, because he said it to her first. Older men, that's why they tend to want to be with younger women. They're more impressionable. They can mold them. They can shape them to be what they want them to be. Do what they want them to do. You let him come to a 40 or 50-year-old woman talking about put a big black baby and baby gravy. We gonna be looking like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, that started with him. Mark my words. It's going to come out. But that race stuff started with Shannon.
Like he was running some secret game behind the scenes, but now the tables flipped fast. This young girl wasn't just along for the ride, she had a whole game plan. Shannon ended up getting finessed, and the receipts are nasty. We're talking text and leaked voice notes exposing some disturbing race play, role play that's got social media shook.
Race play, Shannon Sharpe? Race play? I didn't even want to talk about this, but the more videos I scroll past talking about Shannon Sharpe and this relationship that he had with this 19-year-old, and honestly, I was just assaulted by this information. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm scrolling, minding my business, and I see a deluge of text messages that he released from this girl that are weird and with an obvious race fetish. And it's not just her with the race fetish. He obviously was turned on by these conversations as well. And he only released what she was saying. Put a big black baby in me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe. I wouldn't be surprised if she was calling him the N-word during coitus. He's into that. And if this man is turned on sexually by being racialized in such a weird way.
People are calling it flat out creepy and saying they never expected this side of him. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, boom, more receipts drop. Shannon allegedly told this girl in a voice clip that he wanted to choke her out in public. Like, who says that on record? His entire image is collapsing fast, and now the fans are completely done with him.
Well, what, Gabby?
Well, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Gabby.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah, I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did what you did to me.
Okay, well...
Well, what?
To make it even messier, Shannon's now being accused of trying to sweep it all under the rug before it blew up. Reports say he offered the girl millions in hush money to keep quiet, but she played the long game, held onto the receipts, waited for the right moment, and now everything's out in the open. His moves, reckless, his judgment, questionable, his rep, cooked. Even Stephen A. himself is throwing jabs, with folks saying he's been waiting for a moment like this.
I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously, and we are looking into this very, very closely. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making a decision. It'll be others upstairs. In the end, all of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be, and we own our own business, and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses. That's the situation, unfortunately, that Shannon Sharpe finds himself in.
And let's not forget, Cat Williams and Monique allegedly tried to warn him. They say they told Shannon, these young girls will set you up if you're not careful, but he didn't listen.
That was my only goal. I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. See, come on, cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. And remember, I told you the drug story from when I'm in the park.
Yeah.
So these are just the things. I had all of those when I came in. I already was ready for that.
And now, he's the one getting played, just couldn't help himself. Instead of listening to the warnings, Shannon Sharpe was out here laughing it off like it was a joke. And now look at him, losing millions, losing every TV deal he had lined up, and whatever dignity he had left, gone. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith is somewhere cracking up. Yeah, he tried to act like he had sympathy, dropped a little fake concern on his platform. But let's be real, he's loving this. And here's the kicker. This whole situation, we're just scratching the surface. There's way more mess underneath it all, so let's break it down. First off, Shannon lost that big ESPN bag, and it's looking bad, real bad. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, ESPN ain't just any sports channel. It's majority owned by Disney. Yeah, the same Disney that pushes family-friendly, squeaky clean vibes. They market themselves like they're the moral police of entertainment. So when Shannon's scandal exploded with all them leaked texts, lawsuits, and that disturbing race play mess, Disney wasn't having none of it. They moved quick to cut ties. And let's keep it real. ESPN has weathered scandals before, but this was too much. A lawsuit, a 19-year-old OnlyFans model, and a PR mess wrapped in controversy involving race and serious allegations. Disney said, absolutely not. Shannon thought he could slide out of this with a PR bandage. But when a scandal hits this many nerves, especially with that kind of content, there's no hiding it.
This 3-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual.
Now here's where it gets shady. On April 24th, Shannon dropped a public statement, claimed he was stepping away temporarily from his ESPN duties, and said he'd be back in time for the NFL preseason. Sounded smooth, right? Like he was in control of the situation, but insiders are now saying that's all cap. People at ESPN are spilling that Shannon didn't walk away. He was shown the door. Word is, the execs gave him the chance to save face, let him pretend it was a personal decision, but behind closed doors, they were done. Sources say Shannon is unofficially banned, and they don't want his name linked to the network at all moving forward. And just when things couldn't get messier, boom, Stephen A. Smith decides to jump in. He popped up on his own platform, talking like he's worried about Shannon, gave this big speech about being supportive and wishing him well. But come on now. Folks online clocked that energy right away. It didn't sound genuine. It sounded like shade with a smile. Stephen A. Smith tried to act like he felt bad, said it was unfortunate what Shannon's going through, but if you really listen to his words, it was like he was already giving a eulogy for Shannon's career. The way he spoke, it sounded like Shannon's time in the spotlight was already done, like the curtain had officially dropped. But Stephen wasn't done throwing shade. After the news broke that Shannon was stepping away from ESPN, Stephen came right back and doubled down. He reminded everyone loud and clear, Disney doesn't play when it comes to protecting their image. Once they label you a liability, that's it. You're out, no second chances. And the way Stephen kept repeating it, yeah, that felt like a direct warning shot at Shannon. Stephen even suggested that Shannon hurt himself even more by releasing those texts from the OnlyFans model. Instead of clearing his name, those messages only added fuel to the fire.
They didn't need any definitive evidence at this particular moment in time about all of that stuff. Once all the things Shannon Sharpe's lawyer put out there, it was uncomfortable to listen to. And it was not something that Walt Disney once associated with its brand. So to have him on the airwaves while all of that stuff was put out there was not something that Disney was going to take. That is what I mean when I say I'm not surprised.
From Disney's perspective, it made things way worse, enough for them to fully wash their hands of Shannon without a second thought. Then Steven really let loose. He threw some major shade, calling out grown men who still act reckless like they're invincible. Without naming names, he talked about people who hit a certain age and still make wild decisions, chasing attention, acting above the rules, and then crying foul when the consequences hit. It was obvious who he was talking about.
Stephen A., you work for ESPN. What kind of control do you really have? This is my podcast. This is my YouTube show. I own this. But if you think for 1 second that I could just do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and there's not going to be any repercussions, you're clueless. And you're destined to fail and fall on your face. Some people sit up there and they look at me and they say, Stephen A. don't get himself in this kind of trouble. How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there's certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about me engaging in. But most importantly than that, I often say this about Walt Disney. I'd rather work for a place with standards than one looking for them.
Fans didn't miss the message either. Steven didn't have to say Shannon. Everybody knew who he meant. He was clearly calling him out for fumbling everything. His money, his brand, and his future, and all over a 19-year-old and some out-of-pocket behavior. The internet's been dragging Shannon for this exact reason. People are saying he's way too grown to be acting like a rookie in this game.
Shannon Sharpe, we want out of the group chat now. Like right now, because it's getting disgusting and you need to act your age. First, we had to hear the audio from when you accidentally went live that absolutely nobody asked for. We could have went our whole lives without hearing that. Then you started doing infomercials about ED pills. And now you sharing text messages that's just sharing too much. We didn't want to hear about nobody getting hogtied in your bedroom and your salad getting tossed while you wearing a collar. It's too much. At what point do you say, you just too old? He like that old grandfather that every time he come around, he want to tell you about all the women he got. And when everybody else is talking, he want to talk like he's still in his 20s and he hanging out with the young folks. Pack it up. You just too freaked out at your old age. And we don't want to know about, we truly don't want nothing to do with it. Please, why didn't you just share that in the courts? Share it with the lawyers. Why did we need to see that? Sick of him.
What's even worse, Shannon used to be the one quoting his grandma in interviews, preaching wisdom and self-respect, but when it came time to follow that advice himself, he fell off hard. Now he's out here looking lost, and the streets are showing zero pity.
My grandma used to say something. She'd say, boy, sometimes God will put you in place people don't think you belong. And anytime you're somewhere where people don't think you belong, you know what they say, Steve? Well, he don't deserve that. Who are you to tell me what God has made a mistake on me? He don't deserve this.
But it wasn't just Shannon's grandma trying to drop wisdom on him. Multiple people tried to steer him right. Remember when Cat Williams sat down on Club Shay Shay and flat out warned Shannon? Cat looked him dead in the face and told him messing around with white women could lead to serious trouble. And now, looking back, it's like Cat was predicting the future. Here's the kicker. That interview, it happened while Shannon was already involved with the OnlyFans model who's now suing him. Based on the lawsuit timeline, he was already deep in that mess when Cat tried to school him. That wasn't a random opinion. It was a real warning. And Shannon, he laughed it off like he had it all figured out. Then, not long after, Monique came on the show and told Shannon the same thing, loud and clear. She urged him to settle down with someone close to his age and stop chasing these wild age gap relationships that almost always end in disaster.
But you tried to say, what you tried to say?
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at your
I ain't backing down. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old and get your old out there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
But did he listen? Nope, he was too busy flexing like he couldn't get caught slipping. And now things have hit the fan in a major way. There's this old clip going viral again. Shannon saying he'd go to hell for $50 million, word for word. And guess what? His accuser, Gabriela Zuniga, is now suing him for that exact amount, $50 million. Social media is saying, well, looks like the devil was listening. But this scandal isn't just about a big age gap. What's really got people sick is the content of those texts, the ones Shannon himself leaked. According to her lawsuit and from Shannon's own receipts, he was requesting some dark, twisted role play, including racially charged stuff that made folks online cringe. Insiders are saying the whole race play angle, that was his idea, not hers. Let's be real. Gabriella was working as an online content creator, and it sounds like she was getting paid to act out whatever Shannon was into. But somewhere along the way, things clearly went off the rails, whether she was playing the long game and planned this out, or she changed her mind and Shannon crossed the line. Either way, it's a terrible look for him. So here's where things get even more twisted. One of the main reasons people believe Shannon was paying this girl to live out his wild fantasies is right there in his own text receipts. In a message Shannon personally released, Gabriella straight up says he paid $25,000 for each cheek. Yeah, each. That's $50,000 just to get close. But believe it or not, that's not even the worst part. Gabriella also sent Shannon some bizarre texts. We're talking stuff like telling him she wanted him to put up and that she wanted to put her tongue in his, yeah, that kind of text. But here's what's making fans raise eyebrows. It's becoming more and more obvious that this 19-year-old probably wasn't into Shannon like that at all. She was likely saying whatever she had to, doing what she was paid to do. And get this, Shannon only leaked her messages. He made sure to leave out everything he said, so now people are side-eyeing the situation and connecting the dots. They're saying Gabriella was sending those out there texts because Shannon was the one pushing for those creepy race play scenarios, like he was setting the tone and she just went along with it for a check. Now, whether this whole exchange was fully consensual from start to finish or whether things took a dark turn somewhere down the line, that's something the legal system is gonna have to figure out. But one thing's clear, Shannon ain't looking clean in any of this. Things got even uglier when Gabriella's attorney, Tony Busby, dropped a bombshell audio recording. In it, Shannon can be heard threatening to choke her, and he even says he'd do it in public. Now, the clip is strange on both sides. It almost sounds like some twisted role play, but you can also tell something's off. Fans are saying Gabriella was possibly baiting Shannon, throwing out wild talk just to get him to say something incriminating. But here's the kicker. Shannon went along with it. He didn't just ignore it or shut it down. He actually sounded like he was into it. And now that audio is haunting him big time. Whether Gabriella was setting a trap or not, fans are saying Shannon fell right into it, and recorded proof is proof. Even if she flipped the script after the fact and now claims it wasn't consensual, it's still looking real bad for Shannon. Because at nearly 60 years old, why was he even in that kind of situation with a girl that young to begin with? People are dragging him for being too grown to still be getting played like that, like he really didn't see this coming. And now, everything he said, did, and paid for is coming back to haunt him. The level of denial, lack of self-control, and straight-up delusion in this whole situation, mind-blowing. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more outrageous, Shannon Sharpe tried to flip the script and play the targeted, successful black man card. Yup, he went there. He even compared himself to Jay-Z, claiming that attorney Tony Busby only comes after wealthy black men. But here's where things fall apart. Even if Shannon was onto something about Busby targeting rich black men, people online are not having it. The internet clapped back hard, pointing out that Shannon has zero business pulling the race card in this scandal. Why? Because this man was literally out here paying a white woman to racially degrade him in bed. How do you cry racial injustice after you voluntarily participated in race play? That's the part that has folks in disbelief. And let's not ignore the next plot twist. Shannon tried to get ahead of the media storm by warning that Busby might release a private tape that he claims plays into every negative stereotype about black men. But here's the thing. Fans are saying Shannon played himself into those stereotypes. Nobody forced him to. He walked right into it. From what people are saying online, Shannon's cries for sympathy are falling flat. That whole community cause he's trying to push, yeah, it's not landing. Folks on social media are dragging him, posting memes and cracking jokes left and right about the race play mess. It's gone viral for all the wrong reasons. And let's talk about those text messages Shannon dropped to try and clear his name. Instead of helping, they made things so much worse. Fans are pointing out this ain't the first time Shannon's been caught up in bizarre behavior, and now that he's in hot water, he's trying to act like he's the victim. People ain't buying it at all. But now it's your turn. What do you think about this whole Shannon Sharpe situation? Is he really being unfairly targeted? Or is this just a case of a man who got too comfortable and ended up exposing himself? Was Disney right to distance themselves from all of this? Or should they have let him ride it out? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next wild story we break down. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.